What's good on YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here bringing you another video. Today I'm bringing a video on Lupinranger versus Patoranger. You may be noticing that I'm wearing headphones. The reason for that is because I'm going to be doing a reaction video for this where I'm going to be showing you guys the new clip for Lupinranger versus Patoranger, which is the next Super Sentai season coming this February. So I wanted to do that, do some reactions with it. It just came out. We also got character bios. We finally got to see what the cast looks like, which is great. We also got confirmation on the name of the theme song for the season, which is just going to be the name of the show, but it is going to have a specific artist, so that's good. And we've gotten a bunch of other things, like some of the allies we've gotten information on. We've gotten information on some of the villains, like their character descriptions have been figured out, which has been good. So, you know, overall, a bunch of stuff has been revealed, and I thought I would do a reaction video because it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I thought, might as well do it. So, let's get started. I'm going to put on my headphones, and we're going to begin in 3, 2, 1. Wait, hold on. 3, 2, 1. Interesting look for them. I like the villain's look. I love those masks. Those masks are great. Nice. I like Red's. I like Lupin Red's look. He's good. It looks great. He's pretty cool. Interesting. She's the one that I'm not as fond of. And there's the new ally. I like that's really cool. That's the gadget's neat. That's neat. Nice, the Power Rangers. Let's see them. GSPO. Interesting. I like his look. He looks cool. He looks like a cool character. She's pretty. She's actually pretty pretty. I have to say that. Totally getting some TheKingNappy vibes in a way. This and just some older season vibes. Fun music. Nice. There's the Power Ranger mecha, and there's the Lupinranger mecha. That's cool. Okay. Nice. Alright. It's a cool trailer. So, I just wanted to, you know, do a little bit of reaction for that. Personally, I'll say this much right now, I actually really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a fun video. It's nice to finally see the cast, which looks really cool. We did actually get some information about the cast, which I wanted to talk about today as well. So we got some character descriptions, which I'm sure many people have been interested in hearing about the character bios. And that includes not only the different teams members, but also the allies and some of the villains. As I said before, we do have character descriptions for all of that, which is great, and I'm really happy that we do have so much available to us right now, which isn't always the case, of course. So I want to start with the character descriptions from here. I will say this much right now, I really did like the trailer a lot. It was a nice trailer. We got to see everyone. There are 2 allies that were not shown in the trailer that are in the show. I'll talk about those when we get to them, but they are important, and they're both for Patoranger. The ally that we saw in the show was the Lupinranger's ally. So we didn't see the Power Rangers ally in this, but we did see the Lupinrangers, which is cool. So I wanted to talk about the character descriptions, which I'm just trying to find again, because I actually I had it before, and I want to make sure that I talk about it to you guys, because I'm sure that many of you might be interested in knowing about the character descriptions for everyone, and they're actually pretty interesting. So let's start off with Lupin Red. Lupin Red is Yano Kairi, and the description for him is a daredevilish shame. At first glance he seems shallow, but his mind is actually going a mile a minute. He has a charm that makes it impossible to hate him. He is able to make quick decisions in any situation. Therefore, even if he makes a mistake, he is able to quickly cover for it. While he usually doesn't like to fight, he is prepared to do so if provoked by his enemies. He became a Lupinranger to get back his brother, who disappeared right in front of his eyes. Cool. So clearly there's going to be a story there. They're going to probably go into that whole aspect of, you know, he lost his brother. You might wonder, is his brother going to be maybe one of the extra rangers or the special ranger for the team? That's a possibility, of course. So we'll have to wait and see what that will lead to. That would be neat if it is that way. So then Lupin Blue. Lupin Blue is Yomomachi Toma. That's again, these are the character names. So the description for him is a cool, scheming gentleman type. Makes sense based off of the initial name, which was like Gentleman Thieves or whatever, so it makes sense. Always composed and never letting his feelings show outwardly, but his calm voice often spouts poisonous words. Even in a crisis, he seems completely unnerved. His girlfriend became entangled in a gangler crime and disappeared. He became a Lupinranger to get her back. While he's always cool when in front of the ganglers, he loses himself and becomes an entirely different person. When in front of the Lupinrangers, he loses himself. Okay, while he's always cool, when in front of the Lupinrangers, he loses himself. So he becomes a different person when he's in front of the Lupinrangers. I mean, in front of the ganglers, which is interesting. So that means that he acts one way when he's fighting versus when he's just talking to his friends. So that's interesting to know, and that brings up something. So I'm very curious to see how that will be in the show. Lupin Yellow, Hayami Umika, that's the character name. So the description is a stylish younger sister type girl. She has no filter, often says whatever comes to mind. Despite this, she is actually the most prompt and responsible of the three Lupinrangers. She delights in girly fashion, including Western clothing and accessories. She became a Lupinranger to get back a close friend of hers who had disappeared. So technically, I could say that for any of them, that any of their ones that they lost might become Rangers. It's hard to say because of the fact that all three of them lost someone that was taken by the ganglers. That's important. And again, all of them have some sort of loss. So Lupin Red lost his brother. Lupin Blue lost his girlfriend. Lupin Yellow lost her close friend. So that's interesting. Then we have the Butler, which was the one that we saw in the trailer that was the ally. So the Butlers, basically how they describe it is mysterious Butler Kaguri. Now, I don't know why it says mysterious, because it might have to do with the fact that we don't know enough yet. So basically what we've found out is a man who works for the descendants of the extraordinary great phantom thief, Arsène Lupin. While he seems gentle and even a little clumsy, looking into his eyes tells a different story. He is something like the Lupinrangers, like the three Lupinrangers ringleader. So in a way, he's kind of like above them. But it sounds interesting because he's not very clear as to it's not really clear as to what that really means. He sounds like he's, someone that they report to, but at the same time, he's a little bit more. There's a little bit more to him, it sounds like. So I'm definitely interested to see what that will actually lead to in the show, because it's still a little bit hard to say. So then we have the Power Rangers. So the Power Rangers, let's start with Power Ran Ichigo. Asaka Kaichiro, that's the name. So Asaka, a hot-blooded, super serious policeman, a man of great empathy, has no forgiveness for crime. Once he decides on something, he never wavers and follows it through. His burning passion is to apprehend the Lupinrangers and defeat the ganglers. So pretty simple, just a character that is set on something and you know, he just wants to do his job. He wants to get things done. Not someone that is anywhere near as complex as the as any of the Lupinrangers, just from that description alone. But again, we'll have to wait and see in the show what that will lead to. So then Power Ran Nigo is Hikawa Sakiyuya. So the description is a cheerful and obedient kawaii type man, a little gullible. He has a bit of an indecisive side, and it often causes him to be scolded by Kichiro and Tsukasa. Tsukasa is, if you haven't figured out, Power Ran Sango. But basically both of them scold him, which he's green, so keep that in mind. But on the other hand, his obedient nature allows him to do his best to complete his missions. He is in charge of driving for the team and is an excellent marksman. Also, he seems to find Umika incredibly cute. So obviously there's some sort of thing that's going to happen there between Nigo and Lupin Yellow. So that's interesting. The fact that there's gonna be some sort of relationship that may form between the two teams, where there's gonna be a love interest between two members, one from one team and one from another team. So I actually like that. That's going to be cool to see what that will lead to in the show. And clearly when they join up, that could lead to a real relationship, which is even cooler. We'll have to see though in the end, and I'm sure that part of that might be the way that they'll actually get together as a combined team, the fact that they're sort of liking each other. Although again, we don't know if Umika feels the same way. But I like the fact that there is that kind of aspect to it, that there is some love interest going on here. We have a situation where there's two teams at once. I think that that's actually a really cool idea. So then Power Ran Sango, the last member, is Myojin Tsukasa. So she is the female and for the Power Rangers, and she's the pink Power Ranger. So her description is a candid, cool beauty type policewoman. She has a strong spirit and her speech is very manly. She adapts quickly to her surroundings, but can be very obliging. Despite how she appears, she loves things like stuffed animals. She attended the police academy with Kichiro, and they have an unbreakable bond, probably. An unbreakable if undesired bond. Her feelings towards catching the Lupinrangers are purely professional. So she's just all business. That's all she is. So that's interesting. And Kichiro is Patoranger Ichigo. So that is cool. I guess that means that Nigo must have joined later on. I would assume that probably Nigo is the runt of the group. He's the youngest one. So that is something to note. Or maybe Nigo is older. It's hard to say, but clearly Nigo was separate from Sango and Ichigo. So then we got the two additional allies. Now, neither of these were shown in the trailer, but they are confirmed to be the allies that will help out with the Power Rangers, at least what we know of so far. There might be more, obviously. So they include Commissioner Hilltop, a foreign officer in charge of the Power Rangers who loves Japanese confections. He is a globally minded man who believes in the law and has gathered together the forces of the International Police Tactical Unit to work on taking down Gangler and their crimes and their crime days and nights. While he seems to be a tidy, by-the-book person, he definitely has another side. So that's interesting. The fact that he has something else going on with him. He's not just, very simple character. He's going to have some. I want to know what that actually means, because that could be really interesting to see what that will lead to with his character in the show. So then we have Jim Carter. Jim Carter is the robot that they actually made, which is based off of Jim Carter from Rush Hour, which is based off of James Carter, I believe it was, from Rush Hour. I forget exactly what it was from. But if you've seen that movie, and you get the reference. It's interesting though. So the description says a helper robot for the day-to-day business of the International Police Tactical Unit. Has the ability to search the police database for information and relay it to the Power Rangers to support them. When it receives new information, the siren on its head lights up. Despite its appearance, it has a kind of a bad mouth. So that's interesting. So it's going to be kind of not the nicest character, and more along the lines of the Lupinrangers, because they have foul mouths, it sounds like, but he's supposed to be their resource in a way. And I kind of like that idea that they're doing another robot, because they haven't done robots in a while as allies. It's actually been quite a couple of years since they've done robot allies. I'm trying to think when the last one was. It might have been Go Busters. I'm forgetting though. I think that's right though. Might be Go Busters. So that is interesting to note. I do like that description for him. He sounds like he'll be an interesting character to see in the end. And obviously the Sirens will be interesting to see how that will work out. I'm curious if that will be something that will be reflected just from the base, or will like they get maybe they'll have something on their morphers that will signal as well. I wonder if that's the case. Like they'll have some sort of notification on their morpher. We'll have to wait and see what that actually leads to. So now the last thing I want to talk about with these is the villains. So we got descriptions of the interdimensional crime group Gangler. Now let's go into it. So for starters, we have Granio Yaboon, the Gangler's boss. So the description is: stole the Lupin collection and split it between his comrades. At his birthday party for his 999th birthday, he declared that whoever subjugates the Earth will take over for him as the next boss. So basically means whoever destroys it and you know becomes in charge of it will be the next boss, and he will step down. So that's interesting, because clearly that means that you know he probably won't be directly in the action as much. He'll probably be more so up wherever their base is for the villains, giving them orders, and then eventually he'll have to step up, I would imagine. We'll have to wait and see if that's actually the case, but that's my assumption from this. It's still a little hard to say. The next villain is Destra Myjo. So the description for Destra Myjo is Granio's loyal subordinate and bodyguard. Can produce hand grenades from their body and attack enemies. So I'm guessing the Destra Myjo are actually the like foot soldiers that we saw in the trailer. If you notice them, they have an older look. So they can produce hand grenades from their body. I wonder what that means. If like where it comes from, does it come from their chest, or do they just, you know, feel into their body and then suddenly they're able to pull one out of their body, sort of like some of the older seasons that I can think of. Like I can think of that being similar to Rancic from Power Rangers Time Force. That would be interesting if it were like that. Like they suddenly pull it out of their leg and suddenly they have this hand grenade and they toss it at the enemy. That would be kind of different. So that does sound like that might be the case, because they say from their bodies rather than something else, and that also makes it sound like since the description's fairly short, it makes me think that I'm probably pretty close to right when it comes to believing that this might be like the foot soldier, like putty characters that we saw in the trailer. So then the last one that we have description for is Gochi Rumedo, and the description for this character is the Gangler's woman doctor. Using the power of the Lupin collection, she carries out her role by reviving dead comrades and growing them into a giant size. So basically she's the one that's going to go and make them big, and she's going to be a medic character, which is kind of interesting. The fact that there's a character like that, we haven't, I can think of one obvious character in past years that we've had way back, because we haven't had many characters that have been made for that specific reason. The last time I can think of where it was really specific, I mean, I probably am wrong, because there probably have been much earlier examples, but one of the best examples I can think of was the Clank and Orbis equivalents in O-Ranger. I'm forgetting their names right now, but if you know Zeo Ranger, Clank and Orbis, those two basically are the equivalent here. It's, you know, it's instead of having two though, it's obviously one that does it, and I wonder what that means, because since she's a medic, I wonder if maybe she would like get like a booster shot or something like that, like a needle with a booster on it, and then like stick it into the enemies, and then they'd come and spring up to a giant size. That would be kind of different. I'm very curious about that. And overall, I do like the look of the villains. I like the look of the Power Rangers. I think that it looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting season. We also got some better images. If you want to see them, I'm going to put them up probably of the mechas and also of the changers. So if you want to see those, I will have them probably now showing. And it's really cool because they also feature the individual logos for the two teams, which we really haven't seen many times yet. The the individual logos alone, rather than having the two crammed together like we've seen them in most images. So that's kind of neat to see that. What we also got was some other information. I'm trying to remember now if I can find anything. What I do know again is that they are going to keep the they are going to do the theme song under the same name as the show, so that should be interesting. Again, there's a lot of things that are still kind of unclear as of now what will happen, but I wanted to talk about what I could find. Otherwise, there's not too much I can say. You know, James Carr, I was right with the Rush Hour reference. So that's about it I can think of. There's actually something else that I just found that I might include, which has to do with an image that was shown in the trailer, which featured a bunch of different items, which include there are, like, at the very beginning of the trailer, when you see the opening shot, you see that there's a whole table full of items. You may have noticed that. I'm going to actually have an image here, but someone actually took a screen grab from it, and it is interesting because if you look at them, there's a yellow gun, a blue lighter, a red clock, a green cube, a red crystal, and a pink binocular. So that's interesting because obviously those represent the 6 different the 6 members between the two teams. So that's kind of cool. I'm curious if that actually if there's more to it than that. Like, are they gonna function in the show? Are they just symbolic? What is the meaning behind them? Are they something that they hold dear, like they care about them a lot? You know, it's still a little bit unclear as to what that will mean, but I just wanted to bring this all up. Again, this trailer is looking pretty cool. As far as which team I'm supporting, I'm still supporting the Lupinrangers. I like the Power Rangers looks a lot more actually in the civilian mode than the Lupinrangers, but I actually like Lupin Red's look. I like Lupin Blue's look. The only one that I don't really like the look of is Lupin Yellow, and that's the one that a lot of people are saying the same thing. It's like, not everyone's super excited about Lupin Yellow as opposed to Patoranger Sango, who's the Pink Ranger, because she's actually really pretty, and she actually looks like a cooler character and should be kind of nice to see. I mean, I'm actually really liking these character descriptions. These descriptions sound really good and make me really excited to see what this season will be like, because I was not that excited. Like, I was interested, but I wasn't that excited at first. Now I'm excited, so I can't wait to see what this season will look like. Again, this show will be airing February 11th, so keep that in mind. The show is almost over for the current season, which is Uchi-Sentai Kyuranger, and that should be finished probably, you know, again, it's only going to be another couple weeks. There's actually 4 more episodes, 1 more this weekend, and then there'll be 3 more episodes after that, and then we're done for Kyuranger, aside from any movies or specials that they release after the season's done. Again, hopefully we'll get the Zyuohger versus Kyuranger special soon, or sometime in the near future, but nothing has been set in stone yet. That was something that was apparently confirmed, but they still haven't given us an actual official image yet, so I want to believe that that's the case, but I don't know much else. So I love to know your opinions. Did you guys enjoy this video? What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for this upcoming season? Leave your comments below. I love to know your opinions. Did you guys like the new civilian outfits? Which members do you like? Do you like the descriptions? They sound really cool in my opinion. I think that this season should be a really interesting season to see. Again, it will be starting February 11th, so please remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So, guys, I'm Crazy Samurai 1, and goodbye, guys.